I noticed you're holding a book right there, The Unbeatable Mind. If there's anyone that could use this book, I'm calling it Rusty Nails. Very excited to introduce you to Mark Devine. Mark Devine is the founder and CEO of SealFit. SealFit.com is the website. Let me tell you a little bit about this guy. This guy, when you go train to be a Navy SEAL, it's called a BUDS class, BUD/S class.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's about anywhere from 150 to 200 guys in this thing.
When they start.
When they start.
When they're done, sometimes the class is empty.
There's like 3 people. Out of 170 people in his class, and he'll describe what he has to go to in a minute, he was number 1 out of all of them. And if you take a look at this guy, you can tell he's a little overweight and he's not very attractive, but he is.
And when he shook my hand, I lost the feeling in these 2 fingers for about a minute.
Mark, welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So first of all, I want to talk about your book. You're a New York Times best-selling author. You're a Wall Street Journal bestseller. You're #1 on Amazon Books. You're 9 years active duties, 11 years as a reserve SEAL. You retired as a commander.
Right.
Talk to us first before we get into this. Weren't you in the corporate world at some point, and you decided that you wanted to go and do this crazy thing?
I'm actually a CPA, certified public accountant.
Yeah, you look
New
like
York
one.
State, yeah.
You look just like a CPA.
I was a pretty good fit in that career.
There's a million
lasted
women
4
watching
years.
you right now across the country wanting you to do their taxes. I can promise you right now.
And
I
4
used to
guys.
I used to do
keep that in
taxes
mind.
for a case of beer. So
Yeah.
That's
until
good.
my garage got a little bit overwhelmed
With beer.
And,
So you were a
much to do.
CPA.
Yeah.
And then, so what happened? What was the turning point for you?
Well, I was pretty miserable, right? As a CPA, I was a complete.
As all CPAs are.
Pretty much, yeah. I can imagine. No, there's a few good ones out there.
No, I'm kidding.
I was kind of following what my family and what everyone else thought I should do in my life, and I was kind of blind to it. And I got into a martial arts program, and I started doing what I call warrior development, and it kind of cracked me wide open. So a lot of meditation, a lot of hardcore training, and so it was that kind of sitting time, letting the silence do its work, that I started to kind of get in touch with maybe my deeper self, and that led me into this warrior path. I got a little bit clearer about it, and then I had the courage to just.
See, CPA and SEAL, you just don't.
Yeah, you don't connect those. It's like bacon
kind
and
of
apple.
Opposite end.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I think that shouldn't go lost on anybody, because a big part of this is having mental toughness to go through what you get. So describe a little bit of what a Navy SEAL has to go through, like a typical day. Isn't it about freezing you and starving you?
Like what you guys go through here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
I feel like it.
Yes. Come in, chat a little bit.
Was there ever any chatting in Navy SEAL camp?
There's not a lot of chatting, but there's it takes significant stick-to-itiveness. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
The training is relentless, and it's relentless in a lot of ways. It's mentally relentless. And, instructors are masters at like getting under your skin and finding and probing your weakness. And then
what is the
pouring
purpose of that? So in other words, because every movie I've ever seen, my only experience is watching it on television or movies.
Yeah.
But it seems like the first thing they try to do is get you to quit.
Well, they do. What a lot of the guys don't understand. They think it's all about athleticism, or it's all about looking good. And doing the cool stuff. And the ultimate reality is the SEAL instructors are going back to the team. It's like a 3-year job. And so they are there to select their next group of teammates. And they want to work with guys who will have their back, who can make good decisions under pressure. They don't care about whether you were a quarterback of your football team or whether you're an Olympic swimmer, because there are a lot of those guys come through and don't make it.
No kidding.
What they care about is this guy trustworthy? Is he going to, put it on the line for me, for the team, or is he all about himself? And that's really ultimately one of the most important things is, can you be a good teammate?
Yeah.
Can you take your eyes off yourself and put them on the team? And can you also go the distance?
Climb a rope with your toes.
You got to be able to climb upside down in the rope, hang from a pinky in 100 degrees.
First of all, you're untrustworthy, you're weak, and you're fat. You are so gone. You're the equipment manager from here on out. Mark Devine is our guest. He's the founder and CEO of SealFit. Before I get to SealFit and some of the training, let's talk about your book, Unbeatable Mind. So this is how I met Mark. So during my cycling that I do for Challenge Athletes Foundation, I ride by, I've never stopped, ride by this thing called SealFit, and these crazy, that fat ass on the bike
start
that's
throwing
riding by.
things at you.
These guys, you don't even want to make eye contact for what these guys are doing. It's basically, it's like a boot camp. Like a legitimate, not like the girl boot camps, that a legitimate boot camp.
Oh, God.
So I'm driving by there, and I thought, you know what, I should go online and check this thing out. And I saw this thing they do called the Kokoro Camp. Right? Am I saying that right?
Kokoro.
Kokoro.
Okay, and this is that's what I ride my bike by. These guys doing that, and they got 57 hours, 51 hours of nonstop training.
It's 50 plus. Let's put it that
There's
way.
no
We don't
hotels.
really want you to know how long it is because we don't want you.
You don't want to count?
Yeah, we don't want anyone counting.
So anyway, I went online.
And it's a tire shop. I just saw.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, they changed the tires. They, but I went online. I saw this thing called the Unbeatable Mind.
Jesus, look at that.
Yeah, this is just the intro. This is not even the camp yet, Russ. This is just their waiting room. This is just the,
This is the
this is just
green
the
room.
lobby. There. So I went online and I signed up for this thing called Unbeatable Mind. I thought, I got to get this guy on the radio and on television here. Talk to us about the book Unbeatable Mind.
Yes, so the SEAL Fit is really the hard functional fitness. It's where we, it's like trial by fire. But what's interesting about it is what we teach is, we teach mental toughness, resiliency. It's really about developing character.
Can you just do that part? Like sit out all the log
That's
lifting?
the Unbeatable Mind part. Now, the philosophy, over the past 8 years, I've been running these immersive academies, which is kind of like our version of Buds. Kokoro Camp is our version of Hell Week, and they're different styles of training.
Wow.
Buds, what happens for most of the 6 months in Buds is I get up at 5 in the morning, and then throughout the day, I'm being challenged in different evolutions, and some of them are timed and some not, and some I'm sitting in a classroom, I'm learning skills, and it's really this immersive kind of integrated training, but it's I would call it kind of clubby. I mean, it's intense, but it's not like Hell Week. Hell Week is this one event. It's 1 week. It's nonstop training for 6 days around the clock. We call that a crucible test.
Yeah.
And it just your entire character at that point in life gets tested.
Yeah, you think you get cranky when you're hungry for lunch?
Yeah.
All right. And
Try
you're
going for 60
Is
days.
there an age limit? Do you see guys that are just like, he's going to die? I swear to God.
Yeah, I
One
mean,
more push-up, and this man is going to
Yeah,
die.
that's happened actually.
Yeah,
I bet.
One more push-up, he's dead. So, and you can sign up for your own immersive camp, right? Called the Kokoro Camp.
Kokoro
right?
Camp is our version of it.
good.
It's not as long as Hell Week.
Yeah.
Most of the learning
Purgatory week?
Yeah, it's Purgatory Week. Most of the learning happens in the first 50 or 60 hours anyway, so that's what we try to replicate. And it's open to anyone. I mean, it's SEAL candidates side by side, Sully and you guys. I mean, just
Sure, yeah.
I'm
Anyway.
serious.
We need, we actually need to do this and bring the cameras there just to see.
You should do it.
Just to see how long it would go. I'm calling it. I'm calling if it's 51 hours. I'm calling what 25 minutes for you.
Yeah, really. I am out the first
So
half
Unbeatable
hour.
Mind is it's the mental toughness and the resiliency training. It's the kind of the whole
part's-
philosophy of how to train that. It's you're not going to read about getting wet and sandy and.
But wait a second though. But that's a big part of this thing because could you say that if you mastered the Unbeatable Mind part of this thing, could a guy that is not as fit as he could be,
Hi there. I'm the before
Little
poster
unethical.
person.
and stinking
Can
of
you go
gin-
from
no, but
zero
could a guy go
to-
from zero to maybe be able to complete something like that
yeah.
if they got their head around it?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Really?
we do have plenty of examples of that. Guys in their 40s and 50s who
Keep going.
complete Kokoro Camp, but they spend a good year or maybe 2 years preparing for
ramping
it.
up.
Yeah, and so this is the preparation. And it's more than physical, right? If you want to do something at that level, then you need to do the physical work, but it's the mental work that carries you in the event. And that includes, learning how to concentrate deeply, learn how to concentrate on the right things.
Oh, boy.
Learning how to control your body and mind.
Yeah.
And so
When I feel pain, I think that's a sign I should just sit down and stop doing exactly what caused the pain. Is it me? It's like, ouch, that hurts. I really don't want to squat.
Mark Devine's our guest. He's the founder and CEO of SEAL Fit. We haven't even got to the SEAL Fit part of this thing yet. And,
I'm sweating just thinking about it.
And of course, the Unbeatable Mind program. And about the other boot camp intensive for our
cool.
TV audience, they've been watching some of the video that's been going on that we've been showing that he's been talking about. And of course
I have a
for
Navy
radio.
SEAL in our family. I can't tell you his name, but yeah.
No kidding.
Right.
Yeah. Whoa, big guy.
You're
Live in
not-
Hawaii now.
You're not allowed to say his name,
No.
or you just don't.
yeah,
You don't know.
Then
it.
I'd have to shoot you.
You don't know his name. You
I
don't
do
know
know
your
his-
relative's
I'm not gonna
name.
say- I'll tell him
You
I'll-
don't know your relative's name.
I don't want to get him in trouble. You SEAL guys are just weird
You get
that
in
way.
trouble for being a SEAL.
They're underwater next to me. Boom! Hi, I'm in your pool. What the hell? Where'd you come from?
Mark Devine is with us. He is the founder and CEO of SEAL Fit, SEALFit.com. He is a Navy SEAL. Do we call you a former Navy SEAL or do we call you a Navy SEAL still?
Retarded.
Retired.
Retired.
Retired Navy SEAL. He was a commander, and he was number one in his Buds class. That's a pretty. I know that probably for you that's not your highest honor, but from knowing what you guys go through, that's a pretty badass thing. Being number one.
Well, someone had to be number one.
Well,
Yeah,
and it wasn't going to be Russ.
Because you look at your class, you go, maybe I'll just skip this one because everybody looks like they're in shape. But the next one, bunch of fat guys, you're just thinking, I can dominate these people. So you're good.
I mean, I didn't go in saying I'm going to be number one.
Right.
I really didn't. I went in saying I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. And then, it's kind of what I teach in my programs. I put out every day, and I had a really good attitude.
Yeah.
And I made it my job to make sure that my team, my immediate team, who became my boat crew, were going to get through the training, and every one of them did, right? And I used the skills that I learned largely in the martial arts. I didn't really learn much from anywhere else besides, what I learned sitting on the meditation bench and what I learned on the training floor of the dojo were immediately applicable. Immediately applicable. And it's like, how do you control your body and your mind and your emotions when you're under pressure? Now, those are super valuable skills.
Well,
for
and let's
business.
talk about that because this has to, I mean, the obvious tenets that you're teaching that you learn apply to leadership in business too.
Absolutely.
I mean, we interview the captains of industry in this country, and I can tell you, from Steve Forbes to Denny Striegel to even Newt Gingrich. Will tell you that you've got, they all have a different leadership style. You can apply what you're doing here. I'm assuming that people that go to some of your camps are CEOs
Tons of them,
across the country
boy.
that go in one person and leave another person, right?
For sure. Yeah, that whole thing is cool. It's like to observe the transformation in our deeper programs, the Kokoro Camp, or we have a 3-day and a 5-day academy, which is kind of like our version of BUDS. The training is what I call integrated. So we're developing people in a whole fashion. So we got the hard physical that kind of takes them out of their comfort zone. When you're out of your comfort zone, you're open up to learning more.
Yeah.
But then we've got mental development. So the mental training comes in the form of chaos, confusion, riding the edge, right? Mentally, every time you want to back down, we make you step over that line and push a little bit harder.
I'd break down and cry sometimes.
Well, I'm sure that happens.
Then there's the emotional development.
Yeah.
Working in a team, right? Especially guys, we need that emotional development. It's a big part of our power as human beings.
We're supposed to stay
Right?
stoic.
And exactly. That tough outer shell actually shuts you off from being able to connect with your teammates.
Right.
It's one thing we learned as a SEAL. Everyone thinks SEALs are all like these, hard exterior guys. That's true, but we also have this ability to really connect, with our teammates.
Because during the 5 days, there's a crocheting class.
Absolutely. Underwater basketball.
And what day do you actually learn to balance the ball on your nose?
That doesn't happen.
It's not that SEAL?
But that's a stereotype right there, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to crochet to actually have emotional depth.
That's
and
exactly
control,
right.
Rosie Greer.
We were just talking
Rosie Greer.
we were talking about my friend Glenn Doherty.
Glenn Doherty, who of
was a
course
SEAL fit coach.
lost his life in Benghazi, and he was one of your coaches,
He
right?
was one of our coaches.
Oh, gosh.
And what he was doing there was fighting for his teammate Ty Woods.
Oh, yeah.
And they fought to the death, right? Against
Saved 18, 20 guys, right?
Saved 18 Americans against insurmountable odds. But that was really his emotional connection. He didn't put his gun down and try to save his own ass. He was like, we're in this together, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'll call warrior discipline. And so we try to teach warrior disciplines, which are very applicable to business leadership.
Not only teach it, but let you know where to find that when you are being shot at.
Well, because
Well,
what you're talking
you
about,
don't learn it in a classroom. You gotta learn it, then you gotta apply it, then you gotta teach it.
Oh, God.
And so we do it at all levels. That's what I mean by integrated training.
Yeah.
We integrate it through mental training, through physical training, through silence, right? Through breath control, through all these different practices that we've developed that then really work together to unlock that.
do you remember the team building? You used to hear the corporate buzzword team building back in the 90s. This is really replacing that because I mean, could you imagine how efficient a lot of companies could be if they went through something like this, once a year?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think there's your next website. By
It
the way.
unlocks team performance unlike anything
Speaking
else.
of the website, before I let you out of here today, by the way, Mark Devine's our guest. He's the founder and CEO of SEALFit, SEALFit.com. His book, Unbeatable Mind, it's available on Amazon.com.
And one of the only
BarnesandNoble.com.
book covers to have a wolf and a seal on it.
On the same,
Staring
he
each
won an
other
award for that, by the way. Talk about the Unbeatable Mind program, because that's how I mentioned. I think this is unbelievable. This is an online training sort of program, not just for your mind, but you can also there's also workouts. And
Right.
stuff like that.
It is this integrated training I'm talking about. And so we try to cover physical, mental, emotional, intuitional, and spiritual development. And what I mean by that is your warrior spirit, your non-quitting spirit, your intentional life.
And intuitional, just
Yeah.
how to identify it, because everyone has it, but some people just don't pay any attention
And
to
for
it.
you, it's the
right.
non-quitting spirit that wants to sit down after 5 minutes.
Well, they all kind of work together. That's the thing.
Right.
We're enmeshed human beings. When I went through SEAL training, we didn't just train the physical. We trained all spectrums. Even though the SEALs didn't use that language, right? We were doing integrated training, and it was super powerful. And it unlocked like this accelerated development in the SEALs. That's why you could take a guy out of high school, and then 5 years later, after all that training and all those different experiences, they're literally like PhDs with a rucksack on them. They're super, super.
And on the fourth day,
Effective.
floral arrangements. That's
Which is-
that's
Stop.
such a you're
you
doing
know what?
it.
I have to tell you. So one of the cool things I read
It's
about.
my favorite evolution.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
So easy to master.
The crocheting and the
got
floral thing, because it's emotional.
I'm
right?
here. That's right.
You are.
gotta
Anyway, you know what? I read in I think it was my yesterday's Unbeatable Mind, is the mind gym visualization.
Right.
Talk about that. I never heard of that before. It was so cool.
Okay, so one of the keys to Unbeatable Mind is to learn how to, what I call, win in your mind.
Yeah.
Before you step foot in
Right.
the battlefield, right?
Huh?
And so how do we win in our mind? There's 4 key principles. I call them the big 4. The first is we control our physiology and our psychology, and the tool to do that is breath control.
Okay.
Right? It's a huge part of Unbeatable Mind is to develop that level of control, and there's a lot of details there. And then the second is to essentially rewire yourself to be very, very positive. Positive energy, positive mindset,
Yeah.
all that.
Find the silver lining.
Negativity destroys performance. And then to see the win. So this is to develop our visual language.
Wow.
Right? To see the win, and that's where the mind gym comes in.
This
It's
is
a
the
tool.
mind gym that you're talking. Listen, I want you to go to sealfit.com. You can download everything I've been talking about there. Of course, pick up a copy of Mark's book, Unbeatable Mind. We'll put the link on our website too, where you can buy the book. Mark, thanks so much for coming. I appreciate it. We'll have
Yeah,
you
you
back.
got to come back.
You-
I haven't
yeah,
taken
you-
a breath in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't even
You
notice
tired
this.
already?
I'm about to faint.
Sealfit.com.